Good morning. To President Giles G., trustees, faculty, staff, students, and alumni, I am delighted to receive this special and prestigious award from Keene College, particularly on a day when we are welcoming new students to the campus for the first time. Many years ago, I sat in a similar audience to attend my first year of college orientation, and at that time, I also had no idea what I wanted to major in. But I knew I wanted to minor in teacher education. Later, I did choose a major in sociology. It is some of those experiences that have helped me in my new position, and for the students, I want you to know mostly what I do in Washington is to make sure the nearly 4 million students that attend ASCU institutions, including the over 5,000 students at Keene College, that Congress puts enough money in the Pell budget so that you can get your financial aid. And they don't always do that. But today, I'm here to pay tribute to the past and to the previous generations of Keene State College faculty and students by reenacting this traditional ceremony. At the same time, we celebrate the arrival of new students who remind us of the need to remain current, to look to the future, and to strengthen our resolve. For the truth is, the world needs us. Now, maybe more than ever, the world needs Keene State College and institutions like it. One of our local Washington politicians, President Barack Obama, wrote an opinion piece recently in the Smithsonian Magazine, which he described how American innovation had changed the world over the past 40 years, and how he predicts that American innovation will conquer the challenges we face in the next 40 years. And I agree with him on this point of innovation in America. In fact, institutions like Keene State College operate with just that belief in mind. The class of 2014 will graduate from Keene over the next 4 years, and you will be the working and contributing members of society for the next 40 to 50 years. And I want you to know you've got some work to do. We will be counting on you to have a substantial impact on the world and to play an active role in history. That is why this institution exists and why you have so many outstanding alumni. Every generation bears that responsibility to pick up the mantle from the generation before and to pass it on to the next. The task has not been easy for my generation, and some might question how well we have been doing. We followed the so-called greatest generation, you know, the generation that survived the Great Depression and defeated Nazi Germany. Okay, so that was pretty impressive. But let me also assert that our legacy for our generation will not be a total embarrassment. The previous generation gave us and started the Cold War, but we ended it. In 1950, the typical American woman was a housewife, born into a world where women could not even vote. Today, more than 60% of American women are in the workplace, and nearly 60% of the students enrolled nationally in colleges and universities are women. For the first time, we have 3 women who are serving on the Supreme Court. Our generation walked on the moon. We pioneered the World Wide Web. We decoded DNA. We tore down the Berlin Wall. We participated in the Civil Rights Movement. We brought peace to Northern Ireland. We ended apartheid. We produced a chorus line and Angels in America. They gave the world Glenn Miller, but we gave it the Beatles, Bob Dylan, Bob Marlin, and the Supremes. So hopefully some historians will remember us with admiration. On the other hand, we will leave a good deal undone, as did those who came before us, and we will have made some substantial mistakes, as they did too. Yes, the past 50 years have seen some astonishing changes. But what do the next 50 years hold? We hear that the American century is over, but is that really true? The geopolitical scientist George Friedman also wrote a very provocative piece in the recent issue of the Smithsonian Magazine, and according to him, the American century has just begun. Well, think about it. During the first half of the 20th century, the United States was marginal to global on events. From 1945 to 1991, we were stuck in an expensive and counterproductive standoff with the Soviet Union. Our country is now the world's one and only global power, and we have held that distinction for less than 20 years. We hear that the Chinese economy is growing by leaps and bounds, and it is. Still, the US economy is 3 times larger than China's. That's $10 trillion larger. Fully 25% of the world's economic activity happens here in the United States. And do not underestimate the fact that the United States Navy controls the oceans. In addition, we have a larger presence in space than any other country by far. In other words, I must tell you, members of the class of 2014, for better or for worse, we will be handing the true American century to you. When you leave Keene State College, you will have the opportunity and the responsibility to play a major role in global affairs. And it is the responsibility of this institution to prepare you for the thoughts that are conceived here at Keene, the discussions that take place on this campus, and the ideas that the faculty here inspire can resonate throughout the planet and across the ages. No matter what each individual member of the class of 2014 does after you leave Keene, whether you are teachers or doctors, farmers or bankers, or whether you are parents or activists or artists or politicians, you will be ready. So, what will your time look like? The United States was at the margins at the beginning of the 20th century, but still played a major role. As the 21st century proceeds, we see a number of nations in flux. There will be China, of course, and yet the internal social stresses that come with rapid growth are already beginning to cause divisions in China. Friedman thinks that we will see a weakening of Russia and that the periphery of Asia, 3 major powers will emerge. They will be Japan, Turkey, and Poland. This is not the world as we know it now, but Friedman's argument is fascinating. Unlike China, Japan does not have 1 billion people living in deep poverty, but they do have the largest elderly population. Japan is unified and has the largest navy in Asia. Turkey is the largest Islamic economy in the world, the 17th largest global economy overall, with the most powerful and effective military in Europe, with the 2nd largest standing military force in NATO behind the United States. Expect Turkey to play a major role in the coming century. At a time when Russia is rebuilding and Germany is reaching out to them, Poland is getting nervous. The Polish remember how Germany and Russia have treated them in the past. But now, Poland has the largest and the 8th largest economy in Europe, and it has the most dynamic economy. But then again, is Friedman right? He never mentions Africa. He never mentions South America. He does not take sight of a single world leader. He doesn't consider issues like global warming. The past seems to tell us that global events can roll out in spectacular and unexpected ways. Still, it does not take a crystal ball to see the wisdom in some of his observations. If this is to be the American century, it is also destined to be the century of New Hampshire and the century of Keene State College. Live up to that responsibility, embrace that opportunity, make good use of your years at Keene State College. Good luck and much success.